Hello and welcome to another episode of Cascadia Mountain Weather. It's Thursday, April 25th, 2024. My name is Kyle McCrone and I'm here with Wyatt Mullen. And after a really dry, almost record-breaking dry April, we finally turned the clock and now it's getting pretty wet and stormier. So what do we got going on, Wyatt?
So right now we're looking at actually probably the strongest storm of the month, or at least one of the top two strongest storms of the month, even though we're getting near the end of the month of April coming in. And it's just kind of moving on shore right now. You can see this telltale spin, and we are moving into kind of a cooler and wetter pattern that we haven't really seen for the past 4 to 6 weeks. Um, so just brought this up kind of to highlight maybe some of the conditions that we might see this weekend with pretty cloudy skies, on and off showers. Visibility will probably generally be worse than this, but this was from April a couple years ago where you're starting to definitely see that snow melt out down low, but some decent snow, even accumulating snow up high. Um, I wanted to bring this up again. This highlights kind of the historical data for, this is for Quileute along the Washington coast, and this highlights 850 millibar temperatures. So this is the temperature of the atmosphere about 5,000 feet up. And what I wanted to highlight again is we're starting to move slowly, ever so slowly, out of the springtime pattern. So generally, this right here that I'm pointing at shows about the average kind of 850 millibar temperature. And for much of the January, February, March timeframe, it generally is below freezing, below this 0 degrees Celsius line. As we move into the first couple of weeks of April, we finally bump above that 0 degrees Celsius line, and we make a very slow climb up to our peak, which is in that early August timeframe, before a slow drop down again, although it's a bit faster on the other end. And this is kind of an interesting thing where you can see that our temperature crosses the 5 degrees Celsius line in early June and also in early October. So that's why we see kind of a really slow ramp up of summer temperatures generally, not always, but generally in the Pacific Northwest. And then our summer can extend even through September into early October. That compares with Seattle, where if we look at the average high in the beginning, kind of end of December, beginning of January, it's about 47 degrees, 46 degrees. By now, it's early 60s. So we've seen about a 15-degree increase in that average high temperature in Seattle in the lowlands versus the atmosphere, which is actually staying cooler for much longer and maybe has only increased 2 or 3 degrees in the last 4 months. As Kyle mentioned, it's been pretty dry. We showed this last week, but wanted to highlight this departure from normal. This is in inches. And so seeing that generally the Cascades have been kind of 3 to 5 inches below normal over the last month, we're going to see maybe 3 or 4 inches of rain in the next week to 10 days. So we are going to make up a lot of that deficit, which will be good for water going into the spring and summer, and also will boost the upper elevation snowpack a bit. Right now, this is the telemetry from Mount Baker, and you can see that actually at about 5,000 feet at Mount Baker, it is snowing currently, and they've picked up just over an inch of precipitation, which means that maybe in the 5 to 6,000 foot range of Baker, they've picked up more than a foot of snow, maybe even a foot, getting close to kind of 15 or 18 inches at this point. So the higher elevations are seeing quite a bit of snow with this. You just have to get up high enough, and it's above basically all the pass levels right now. This is showing kind of the snow level over the next couple of days. So we're starting here at 4 a.m. Thursday, going to the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and you can see that we're hovering in this 5 to 6,000 foot range for the next couple of days. But as we go towards the end of the weekend and into Monday, we're going to see a kind of a colder system move in, which will drop the snow level back towards the passes. And we might even see a little bit of snow at Snoqualmie Pass and Stevens Pass, or even a decent amount of snow, a couple inches, which is not that rare for this time of year, but we haven't seen too much in April. As we move through the weekend, this is highlighting some of the shower activity. We're not going to have any big storms move through per se, but it will be on and off showers throughout the Cascades. Probably the driest time period is going to be that Friday evening And then we'll see showers kind of continue to move through, especially in the mountains on both Saturday and into Sunday. Um, Visibility might be pretty poor at times as well. The lowlands actually aren't going to see too much precipitation. This is the 24-hour precipitation going for, so this is kind of ending 5 a.m. Saturday, 5 p.m. Saturday, and 5 a.m. Sunday. So we're going to see maybe half an inch to an inch at times over the Cascades, but the lowlands will just see showers and sun breaks, as is pretty typical for the lowlands this time of year. Maybe a couple, maybe fewer sun breaks than we saw last Sunday. And in terms of snow, this is highlighting total snow through the, including the stuff that fell today. So you can see that some of the upper elevations in that 5,000 to 6,000 foot plus range are picking up 18, 20, maybe even 24 inches of snow through the end of the weekend. So snow is definitely still coming around. And you can see if I move this back a little bit, that as we move towards later on Sunday, that snow level begins to drop, and you can see that building or at least falling even down towards the pass levels. So just be aware of that if you're trying to travel over the passes Sunday night, that there might be some snow and it might make travel a little bit difficult. Clouds will be pretty persistent, as I mentioned, in the mountains throughout the weekend, but we'll probably see some sun breaks down lower. And then winds, just be aware that if you are getting out there, if you manage to get up high enough that you're in the snow, that there might be some periods of stronger gusty winds, especially in the upper elevations along the crest, kind of in that 20 to 30 to maybe even 40-mile-an-hour range.
This is the forecast for Rainy Pass, Washington Pass this weekend, and it's pretty high. You know, this is a 6,000-foot spot that we selected on the map, but you can see that you're going to be in between mixed precipitation. You know, sometimes it might be snow, sometimes it might be rain, sometimes in between. So I think that it's a little bit difficult of a weekend to get out in the mountains just because, you know, you're probably going to get really wet. Visibility is not going to be great until you get further east in the mountains. But, you know, maybe we have falling temperature, falling freezing levels, and it does get better throughout the weekend. If you're looking to go out to the east side and look at some wildflowers, it is pretty good conditions for that this weekend. So it'll probably be partly sunny, some clouds most of the time this weekend. We will probably see a lot of wind because when it's sunny in the rain shadow of the Cascades, we get pretty big temperature gradients and pressure differences, and we often get a lot of strong winds. But that can be, you know, nice if you dress for it. This is a picture of the wildflowers out near Wenatchee from a few years ago, but I went out actually last weekend and confirmed that, you know, there are wildflowers indeed, and they are peaking quite early this year, probably 3 to 4 weeks earlier than normal. It's been very dry out there, and there was less snow this winter, so that seems to have made the wildflowers come early. They don't seem to be as spectacular as last year, but there's still a lot out there. And it's a good time if you're looking for a little change of scenery if you live on the west side. So the 18 to 14-day temperature outlook precipitation is generally trending for wetter than normal, which is probably good after such a dry April. But, you know, I think past this weekend, the signal isn't super strong, so you have to keep your eye and see what happens. Finally, I'd like to thank our patrons. These individuals support us, and in return, they get very detailed recreation recommendations every weekend. So we talk about, you know, different places to go ski or climb, different activities, different days to look for a good weather window. So if that sort of thing interests you, we encourage you to check out our site at cascadiamountainweather.com, or you can click on the link in our show notes. So thanks to everyone for listening. We hope you have a great weekend as we head into May. Thank you.